Good evening and welcome on a Monday night in July to Generation Movies. This is the Enrico Palazzo episode of the show. My name is JW Colwell. I'm joined as always by my good partner in crime, my yin to my yang with regards to
I don't want to be anything to your yang, buddy.
Well, you know, this is our hill and these are our beans.
Nice.
Rich Drees,
Hey.
how are you doing?
I am doing great, man. I had a great weekend.
This weekend doesn't have anything to do with this, does it?
It might, yes.
Okay. Well, tell everybody about your weekend.
This weekend, I was invited to a screening of my favorite film of all time, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. It was held at held as part of a series of films, curated. It's part of a 75th anniversary of the Dartmouth College Film Society. The director of the film, W.D. Richter, is a Dartmouth graduate. He and his lovely wife Susan have long since retired to nearby Dartmouth, and so he did a very rare Q&A beforehand or after the movie. I mean, that ran for about an hour, and I was invited up by some friends of mine who have contact with Rick because they run the Bonsai fan newsletter. I've contributed to that on numerous occasions. I've interviewed Rick once, one very long interview once, and then a couple of times back and forth, some quick email exchanges. But I got to have dinner with him on before the screening, which was fantastic. It was like the five of us and the person running the Film Society program. And it was a wonderful, wonderful meal. We talked about a lot of stuff, not just the movie, but the state of the industry and a lot of stuff. Had a great time. And then the next day, because it's Dartmouth College, me and my friend Steve, who is the one who, kind of had me there, we went walking around on campus looking for the site of the old frat house for the Alpha Delta frat. Now, if you're not familiar with Alpha Delta at Dartmouth, they are the ones who writer Chris Miller was a member of when he went to Dartmouth in the 60s. And
some would say they were animals. Some would say, right?
We're getting there.
Yeah.
When he went on to write for the National Lampoon, he wrote stories based on things that happened at Alpha Delta, and then those stories became the basis for the movie Animal House. So me and my friend Steve found the actual Animal House, the real life Animal House location, if you will. And we took some pictures there, and I'm sorry I didn't forward those over to you for this, but I do have something to show because my friend Steve is from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
He flew in for the weekend for this whole event.
Before you move on past Animal House, okay. The best line in the movie is they took the bar, the whole fucking bar.
They did take the bar, but I happen now to have a piece of the crown molding from inside the location that they used for the movie.
Oh, that's super cool.
This is actual. Yeah. Steve had this for a long time because he lived in Portland, Oregon, where they shot the movie. He rescued this when they tore down the building years ago. And he passed it on to me this weekend. And I've never felt more humbled and just
close to a piece of crown molding. Yeah.
This is a piece of molding that was up on the walls in the home that they shot for Delta House. So
the closest thing I have to that is my dad. Somebody brought a brick to the theater my dad worked at. It was the brick from the first theater in the country that showed Gone with the Wind. So
from the theater in Athens, Georgia, where not in Pasadena or wherever they held.
The first Athens theater, Georgia. So it was a brick. They did in NEPA,
Northeastern,
northeastern, yeah, in northeastern PA, they did a big, huge, right around the time of its 50th anniversary, I think, 89.
Yeah.
Right around the time of its 50th anniversary, they had a big, huge to-do screening, like I want to say it was like a ball, like can't think of the word, a cotillion. They had like a cotillion in like Naog, and then everybody came dressed to the movie in like antebellum outfits. And I just remember my dad being like, whatever. And the person who set up the screening gave my dad the brick for doing such a good job with it. Like, you know, like sometimes people, yeah, it was super cool. It had like it had like a label on it. It had like a plaque on it. This is one of the original bricks from the original theater that showed Gone with the Wind. And the guy said that he got it from a theater person who said to pass it on to a theater person who would understand it. And my dad was thrilled to get. Yeah, my dad was thrilled to get it. I still have it. It's somewhere in the recesses of my mind. Anyway, but that sounds like a great weekend. I celebrated my 23rd. Yeah, my 23rd wedding anniversary. We went to SeaWorld with the kids. That's right.
Congratulations, my friend.
Oh my God, 23 years of her having to put up with me and
that poor girl.
That poor woman.
Well, you have my congratulations. She has my condolences.
Yeah, condolences. Yeah. No, absolutely. All true statements. Yeah, I'm lucky. She's, unfortunate. It is what it is. But before the weekend started, she was annoyed with me. She's like, I have the number 4 up here. I've seen Superman 4 times, and she's annoyed that I told her it was going to be like a Force Awakens situation. When the Force Awakens came out, I was sneaking out of the house, going after work. You know what I mean? Like I was just, I saw it a bunch of times because I really loved it. And Superman's in the same boat for me, which is good because apparently it's in a lot of people's boats as well. It begins is an interesting phrasing of this. Also, Rich, can I say to you, I've never seen more people who've become armchair box office people, and also at the same point are both actively rooting for a movie and then actively and equal amounts of people actively rooting against it, like it owes them lunch money. I've never seen anything like it. And it's like you don't have to like the version, but actively rooting against it is like, do you not want them to make movies? Do you want theaters to not function anymore? Because that's the place you're going when you put out articles where you're like when you're going all in and being like, this movie is a bomb, and it's like that makes people not want to go to the movies. You and I have talked about this. Like, if people feel that it's not worth their time, they're not going to go. It takes a lot to get people out of their houses now, right? And so I'm both furious and like depressed at the whole thing. But Superman grossed $58 million over the weekend, only 53% off. As opposed to like say something like Man of Steel, which dropped 67% in 2013 in its second weekend. So yeah, is it losing inflation-based stuff? Sure. And we talked about this on Tuesday. There are so many reasons.
Variable. That's one factor, though. You can't do it just for inflation and say now these two things are equal, because you're talking about two entirely different.
I wish I had you on Tuesday.
Movie-going environments.
Well, movie-going environments, like we've had COVID, we've had streaming kind of interrupt things. We've had streaming completely interrupt the rise and fall of an animation giant. Like if you think like I was talking to the wall on
totally screwed Pixar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't understand it. I think it's good that we have a big hit movie. I love the movie. I think the more I see the movie, the more I love it more. The more and the key to it, it's a very subtle, small key. The key is James Gunn understands Superman. So it's a very subtle, small key, Rich. He understands that. It's so small. He understands that Superman's kind. He understands that he's trying that his humanity is what sets him apart, even though he's not human. And that is why people are embracing it. They are embracing it because we are in a dark time, and we need something to be hopeful about. Something to be like, hey, take your kids and be able to go, look, that's a hero. That's what a hero looks like. He does himself.
Talked about before. I mean, we've talked about this before. You know, where the hope and optimism of Star Wars came about at the exact moment it needed to, because we were in such a national funk over the
Vietnam, Watergate,
the gas crisis, the Vietnam War, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And it can change things. It can totally change things. Now, like we talked about different things. We talked about the fact that Man of Steel, if you adjust for inflation, has definitely outgrossed it. But the interesting thing about that is Man of Steel has also contributed to Superman not doing as well, right? Because people are gun shy about DC. The last 10 DC movies have been mid at best. So
I would say some of them were better than others. I will, fight hard.
I'm just saying mid.
Birds of Prey. I will fight hard for Blue Beetle. The first Shazam.
Blue Beetle, first Shazam, Wonder Woman.
People just were kind of like burned on the brand overall because of certain films that kind of launched the franchise, and then
Suicide Squad, Man of Steel.
Yeah,
the darkness. So I'm happy. I'm happy.
And like we said before, Man of Steel was also kind of drafting off the popularity of Nolan's Batman trilogy, which had just wrapped up. So it's an entirely different thing here. People had goodwill towards DC, so they went to see Man of Steel just based on the brand. Now,
because he was producing, because Nolan was producing,
to bring people back to the brand and say, "Look, we fix things," and that's a hard sell. And that he's able to do it just about as much as
possible in 2025, as possible in 2025.
Yeah, right. This movie doesn't need to make $1 billion. It just needs to let people know that the franchise is in stable, good hands that have a vision that they want to show you.
Right. The second and third movie will gross $1 billion when we get whatever we're getting. Right?
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the plan.
And then Clayface next year.
Yeah. Well, maybe the fourth and fifth movie. Right? I'm just saying. Like, I'm not gonna. I don't want to put undue pressure on it. But $58 million is nothing to sneeze at in a second weekend. It didn't drop like a rock, which is great. Jurassic World's holding on for dear life. 23 million. And then the three movies that opened.
That franchise seems to be like critic proof, man. You could be a great Jurassic Park movie. You could be a shit Jurassic Park movie. You're still going to make roughly the same amount of money.
But the funny thing about it is it's the same argument as Man of Steel, right? All the Jurassic World movies that were not as people didn't like as much or whatever, they have degraded the brand just enough that this movie is taking it on the chin. And is it the greatest movie ever made? No. Is it a good Jurassic Park movie? Yes, because Scarlett Johansson's fun. And Mahershala Ali is fun. And you know what I mean? Like and Jonathan, what's his name? Jonathan, I can't think of his name, but the third guy is good too.
There's only one Jonathan I can think of right now, and I don't want to talk about him just yet.
But yeah, so
he's on the list though.
He's on the list, yeah. But it is one of those things where it grows 23 million, it only dropped 40%. It's hanging on, it's doing well, it's doing better worldwide. And they did have a big article come out today where James Gunn said, we have exit polls and we have things all around the world where we know Superman is not doing as well around the world because, and this is the greatest irony of all time, for all the talk that you shouldn't go see Superman because it's woke, the most interesting thing that I think has come out of this entire thing, Rich, is that, did that just come off on you?
Might have.
Might
Keep
have.
going.
The most interesting thing I think in the world is that the wokeness is not what's hurting it at the international box office. The decline of how America is viewed is hurting it at the box office. And it's a weird thing.
As being exemplified by the current people in charge, the American way is not a great thing.
It's not a great brand right now.
No.
But that's the most interesting thing is like the whole thing is everybody's like, oh, it's woke, you shouldn't go see it. And then you look up and you go, well, the reason it's not doing good as well worldwide as something like Jurassic World Rebirth, where dinosaurs eating people is very easy to sell, is because the brand that is Superman is very much tied to our national identity. And so Superman worldwide is not as easy to sell worldwide because he's so tied to being American. He's so tied to the immigrant experience. He's so tied to truth and justice, and we're not in a truth and justice time right now. So it's an amazing kind of irony. But that movie did very well. The three movies that opened, Rich, all landed with a thud, although they're not super expensive, and some of them were acquired. Eddington, A24 is having a rough year, man. Eddington, which is a big budget movie from Ari Aster, only grosses $4.2 million.
That kind of bums me out a little bit. I think a lot of people are wincing from Beau is Afraid, which I think is a great movie, and a lot of people just were like, I don't understand this, or I don't like this movie. But it's really just
I think he's
with the film, and
I think he's a little overextended is where we're at. Is that I think if he made a movie every 2 years instead of every one, I think people would be able to kind of like digest them properly and move on. But that's just an opinion. Smurfs also bombed, which is Paramount acquiring Smurfs late, like a law of diminishing returns. Only grossed $11 million. It's a kids movie. Kids movies are usually pretty golden because there's not that many of them at any given time. I know what you did last summer, $12.7 million. The funny thing here is it's a reboot of a movie that I don't think is top line genre embracing. You know what I mean? So it's like, but it only cost $18 million to make, so it's going to make some money back, right? Yeah. It's going to make money back. And it apparently sets up for a new franchise or a new sequel or whatever if it does well enough. Who knows? Let's get some comments before we move on to our next stories. Good evening, gentlemen. Hello, Joe Ridgely.
Evening, Joseph.
Good evening, friends. Facebook feed not working. What?
Let me just check that right now.
Really? There might be two. Ken, check it. There might be two because there was an issue with Facebook. There might be two of them. So be careful. Go back and check the other one. But if you can watch we're on both YouTube and Facebook, and it's a perfect time to tell everybody you should like and subscribe so you can catch us wherever you can.
Yes.
I'm going to save that one for, okay, so Joe is on Facebook. Hi, Jamie Hill. Good to have you. I know you're killing it.
Hi, Jamie.
Up in Canada. I'm on Facebook, so Joe Ridgely says, okay. I always go through the Indiescape site. Cool. I just think there were two of them. Now, I'm going to put this up, Joe Ridgely, and first off, two things. So you're on my shit list because we fought about Superman. And but it's okay. I don't mean shit list in a bad way. I mean shit list in like we're gonna fight about it. But you're really gonna be on a shit list right now,
dude.
You
have homework now.
You have homework. Oh, that's the best. So
I love you, Joe.
That's yeah, but you should see Bucker Bonds. It's a worthy experience. It's worthy just for the fact that it never doubts itself and how,
if nothing else,
batshit crazy it is.
Go for the John Lithgow performance.
Yeah, Emilio Lizardo is pretty great. He's pretty fantastic. Yes. Also, Peter Weller's really good. It was at a time when Peter Weller was about to hit big, and then he didn't hit big, and I was like, oh. So close.
Yeah.
We other news stories that are making the rounds today. A rest in peace, an early rest in peace. Usually we talk about older folks. This is a tragedy because he was starting. Malcolm Jamal Warner died at 54 today. And when you look it up, like he played Theo on the Huxtable on the Cosby Show.
Of course,
he died of an accidental drowning, but he's been doing really good work on a lot of other stuff right now. Like, sure, the Cosby Show in a Different World was where he got out, but he's been on a lot of stuff. He's on Sons of Anarchy. He's on The Resident. He's been he's on Community for a couple of episodes.
He did that science fiction show Jeremiah on Showtime years
fantastic.
back. Ran 2 seasons with Luke Perry. With Luke Perry, both of them are gone now. I feel I enjoyed that show, and I feel really bad for fans of that show who might be like.
He was on Suits. He was on in the People versus O.J. Simpson. He had guest spots on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Grownish Community. He was also a producer on the Magic School Bus, which is something you don't think about for him. And so apparently had an accident swimming.
As Jamie's pointing out in the chat there, that he's swimming on vacation with his family.
Yeah, just a terrible tragedy because he's one of those people that has bounced around and survived through many years in Hollywood, and then also was doing really good work into we watch The Resident every once in a while on Netflix around here, and he was really compelling on that show, and he was compelling on a lot of shows. The Jeremiah show you mentioned is one of the truly great, interesting shows that never caught on. That was in like the lost kind of the lossification of whatever. But rest in peace. Thanks for all the work. Sorry, but you did so much good work near the end of his career. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So it's if we take anything from it, though, it's a reminder that always make the most of the moment.
And that's the thing. He was I think he was as he was getting older. He
retired on his Theo Huxtable money, and just had a nice chill life with a nice house out in the suburbs and just
He also one of the single funniest jokes on Community was he was dating Shirley, I think, and he wore a really crazy sweater, and she's like, "That's a really nice sweater." He's like, "Yeah, thanks. My dad gave it to me." And it was one of the very deep cut Community jokes. And he, so that's, just hug your loved ones, try to remember what you got going on. So we have a movie opening this week. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's this little thing called the Fantastic Four. But they announced. Do you know about this movie? It's about apparently a team of.
I read something about it somewhere.
It's about a team of superheroes that fight a giant planet-eating fellow. But the other big news that came out is that this trailer will appear before it. Avatar: Fire and Ash, which is coming out December 19th to take total control of the Christmas quarter and just gross $1 billion and make me long for James Cameron movies like Terminator 2 and Aliens. I like Avatar, but I don't love. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are some movies I like, and then there are some movies I love. And Avatar is
crazy though, because the argument always is, oh, these movies never leave a cultural impact. You can't name one character from them, blah 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 blah, and yet they turn around and make $2 billion.
I think it's more interesting for me is that it became Cameron's du jour is that he could mix up any he reminds me of the scene in The Odd Couple when Felix and Matthau and Lemon, the original, and basically Walter. He takes a plate of spaghetti and he throws it against the wall, and it's
fettuccine.
Linguine. What is it now, Felix?
It's garbage, Felix.
I think Cameron in his late stages has this ability, this magical ability, to throw a movie against the wall, and whatever person goes to see it, they see whatever they think they're they're inclined to watch. So it grosses $1 billion because, you know, somebody sees Dances with Wolves, or somebody sees Aliens, or somebody, like, it's never about the entire movie itself. It's just about what they're feeling when they see it. Oh, it reminds me of this, or it reminds me of this. And it's just a late stage Cameron. Like, some people view Titanic as an action movie. Some people view Titanic as the greatest romantic drama ever made. You know what I mean? He's a magical at that ability where
I'm looking forward to what movie he has to give us. I have a feeling that some of it is going to, at the end, is going to hang over into whatever is the fourth film in the series. He has two more after this.
Yeah, I remember.
I know there's a time jump involved right after the first few moments of the fourth film. The next one down the line.
I don't know. Rich, I'm going to be honest with people. I have not watched them since I saw them in theaters. Like, I see them in theaters.
Same here.
And then I don't see them again. And like, I don't revisit them. Like, I put up a couple weeks ago.
I mean, I recently, within the last 6 months or so, got a 4K screen and everything and disc player. So I'll probably go out and get them all on 4K just to kind of give myself the rewatch and everything.
I don't feel the need to spend that 3 hours. Like, I'd rather watch 2 movies that I really love over again. Like, I'd rather watch Superman, to be honest.
I get that in 4K too. So.
Yeah, definitely getting that in 4K. I am nodding as you're speaking. His work was done well. Yeah, he was a good kid. I want to see it. I think everybody does want to see it. I think everybody wants it. Fantastic Four numbers are jumping, by the way. It started out as 110 and now it's up to 140.
And I have to wonder if some of that is because everybody's excited about superhero movies because Superman came out primed
the pump
and is doing well.
Right, it primed the pump. It's like, and then
rising tide raises all boats.
All boats. And I also think part of the excitement, and this is something you and I've talked about, the idea that the aesthetic and the tone for this version of the Fantastic Four, whatever version we get, whoever we get, whatever happens, this aesthetic and tone looks right. All of a sudden, making, if you have a bunch of superhero movies, the tone and the aesthetic have to hit.
What have I been saying about the aesthetic?
The aesthetic and the tone have to hit. What else? Well, you have a couple other things you want to talk about before we get going. Let's
one other thing, really, and that's the Colbert news from Thursday. That
terrible news.
CBS.
Terrible news. This is a terrible story from this week.
This is if you hadn't heard, CBS has announced that they are canceling the Late Show with Stephen Colbert after
not Colbert,
upcoming
the show.
season. So basically, next May, the show will end, and they are not continuing the franchise. They're not firing Colbert and bringing in somebody else to take that seat. They're done. CBS is now going to be in 10 months out of late night altogether.
They're going to run Byron Allen.
They lost after
shows.
midnight when Taylor Tomlinson wanted to go back on the road as a stand-up, and rather than continue that show, they decided to shut it down. And now this. So the after midnight thing kind of was a little bit of a harbinger. I think the idea that she got out of it, not only because, like, the rumors are that she got out of it not only because of she wanted to get back to stand-up touring, which is what she really loves, but also the pressure, the innate pressure of doing a late-night show in this timeline that we're in, this horrible roll on a 20-sided die we're living in, was too much. But, I mean, we've talked a bit before about how the nature of streaming regular television as we traditionally know it has been changing because of streaming, because of Netflix, because of various other YouTube.
Everything's on YouTube the next day, and clips, bite size. nuggets, so you don't have to watch it live.
Yeah, but one of the biggest impacts it's been having is on late night. Not a lot of people watch actual appointments, sit down and watch for an hour at 11:30 at night, late night television anymore. And the revenues, the ad revenues have been falling precipitously across the board. You know, like they've fallen about 50% over the last 7 years. And now, granted, Colbert is the top of, he's the number one guy across, what's going on in CBS, ABC, and NBC. So, the two Jimmys and Seth and...
Yeah, I mean, I think...
But his show still costs $100 million a season. Now, that's 160 shows. So that's pretty good value for the money when you break it down to a per episode basis. But it's still losing, according to some reports, like $40 million a year.
I think the money thing is a great way to go. Is a great way to get out of it and go, hey, we can't afford it. But this is a company that's about to have what is it, a $50 billion merger?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that you're going, oh, we're looking at costs all of a sudden is ridiculous. The other side of it is,
well, no, I don't think it's that ridiculous because remember too, this is Paramount. So they're already having the whole thing with the South Park guys over their 10-year deal, which is valued at like $2 billion. And, the people who are buying Paramount are like, I don't know if we want to spend that. So I don't know if we're going to renew that deal. And the South Park guys are like, no, you guys got to. Sorry.
They signed the deal already. Is the problem with the South Park? Like, I don't know. I just think it's a little convenient.
Taylor Sheridan is looking like he might get screwed a little bit. They might be cutting back on stuff on Paramount Plus, like the Star Trek shows. Which, if you kind of look at what they've been doing, they've kind of been winnowing out older series. Strange New Worlds, even though it just launched its 3rd season, we know it's ending after season 5 with a 7-episode order for that season instead of the usual 10. And that's like a savings of $60 million right there. Because that's a $20 million an episode show.
Well, the interesting thing there is it's going to impact things down the line, because drawing these creators back is where you're going to have problems. Although Colbert, I don't think they care, but I also don't think I don't think they understand streaming as well. Like if you one of the things that I've been noticing, Netflix has gone out of their way this summer to acquire anything and everything that is not tied down, right? Because they know. Well, no, but
they're giant.
They're a giant Hoover thing. I watched a show that was produced by Showtime that I burned through in a day and a half. That was so wonky and off the wall that I don't know how it got produced anyway. It's a show called Entitled, and then I looked it up, and Showtime didn't even put it on Paramount Plus. They didn't even put it on Showtime. They produced all of it.
They just made it and then thought, meh.
That's weird. We don't know what to do with it. We don't know what to do with it. So they offloaded it to Netflix. It's like number 7 on Netflix. So it's like, I looked at it and I was just like, I watched it. It's weird. And it's just like about a family and just in Britain. And they got all kinds of weird shit going on. And it's a cross between The Wicker Man and it's just a weird show. It's a comedy show, but it's a weird show. So I just look at it.
Though, I want to circle back because I have a couple of points I want to make about Colbert.
Okay.
Well, first of all, he's just going into the last year of his contract. His contracts run September through August. So coming this September will be his last contract. So they needed to let him know, no, your contract this last year is going to end in May instead. And that's also to let producers, writers, and other staff production people know so they can start, polishing up their resume. Now, a lot of people have jumped to the conclusion that, well, Colbert this past Monday slammed his Paramount bosses for capitulating in that lawsuit between Trump and 60 Minutes, which if 60 Minutes had actually fought, it could have very handily won that against Trump. and that, you know, so maybe this is some kind of retaliation to kind of show Trump that, you know, and I'm not going to say that's just conspiracy thinking. I am going to say, though, the economics around late night right now would have probably forced this decision anyways, no matter who is in the White House. But for some people,
it doesn't look good. The optics are
who are trying to make Paramount as appealing as possible to David Ellerson and the folks at Skydance, and Ellerson is kind of a you know, he kind of leans towards Trump's side of things. That's going to make them feel a little bit better about, you know, it's kind of sweetening the deal. Now, of course, Trump immediately jumped on social media. He was like, I got him fired, which is bullshit, frankly. Sorry. I am not going to give him that win. But that also means I can't say that he was simply fired, that Colbert was fired in and of itself only because of his left-leaning, the left lean of his show. Because I don't believe that. And I'm a lefty. I'm just looking.
I think the optics are shitty. The optics are shitty.
Yeah, the optics are absolutely shit. But it also didn't hurt anybody involved saying, well, maybe this will get Trump off our ass as well. So that was just a sweetener to the decision.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I think the money is bad, and I think you know, what Conan O'Brien has showed is that podcasts and streaming yourself, and, you know, even like somebody like Dan Le Batard, who was able to take everything and kind of take all these people and package it with it and leave and go form their own company. Colbert is going to do that if he wants to.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I anxiously look forward to what his next act will be.
Well, he's never had an act. Yeah.
Well, no, you know, next act as in like act 1, act 2, act 3.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. In his career, maybe he'll go back and do sketch. Who knows? Maybe he'll take over Saturday Night Live. That'd be awesome.
That would be really good. Well, but okay, so
I'm very anxious to see exactly what he is going to do over the next 10 months. Because he's like, fuck it, what are they gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah, I don't have anything to lose now. I just signed the contract.
So
another person. Yeah,
Unleashed sounds like it could be a little bit of fun.
Unleashed sounds fun.
I know I have the DVR set.
Unleashed is also something we could say about Frank Drebin. He's unleashed in 1988. And you know, I rewatching this movie today. It's an hour and 28 minutes. It flies by. It moves fast. Let's talk about production. I think the most interesting thing is that they found their guy in 80, right? They found their guy with Leslie Nielsen.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Nielsen kept on having a regular career, and then he goes to Police Squad. He gets there. They make a couple other movies that are okay. But then this falls into their lap. Yeah,
let me ask you this as a way to lead into this. Has there been a bigger film franchise launched off the back of a bigger failed television show than how the Naked Gun films were launched off of Police Squad?
I don't. I was thinking about it. Like, I was thinking about stuff that I really liked. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking about stuff that I really liked, where you look up and you go, okay, well, let's start off a TV show and the failed TV show, and then it kind of like, you know, like I can only think of like people, right, that were in a bad show, and then they kind of like their career kind of miraculously came out of nowhere. But very rarely do you get shows that get produced and then the show survives on, right? Like the concept of the show and everything behind the show. I was thinking about it today as we're watching it, Rich. The most interesting thing for me, an interesting little factoid, is the name of the movie is The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad, right? But every other movie is called The Naked Gun something, right? And I was thinking about it. They literally could have called every movie, like the first one could have been The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad. Second one could have been The Smell of Fear from the Files of Police Squad. The third one could have, but this movie
mission.
Right.
The Smell of Fear is one of the one of the titles from Police Squad.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I know. But what I'm saying is they could have done all of that, but the branding becomes so potent with this movie that it becomes its own little franchise within a brand is the best way to describe it. So they made Police Squad. They also did Top Secret, which we did on this show and is one of our favorites.
The Zucker-Abrahams-ZUCKER.
Yeah, and they also did Ruthless People, which was also a pretty big hit when it came out. You know, Danny DeVito, Bette Midler movie that did very well. You know, a $71 million movie on a $9 million budget. That's the other thing.
And by this point, they were also writing. They had brought in Pat Proft as a writer. Neil Israel, I think, wrote on Police Squad. And then they start to accumulate a couple of people around them that kind of pop in and out of their orbit for various projects.
They understand the brand.
Yeah.
They understand the brand. The interesting thing is they wrote this, they got greenlit from Paramount without a script. So, like, they had an idea, and then Paramount's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. They had an overall plot. We're going to try to kill the queen. They added a romance to it. They're like, we're going to have a romantic kind of thing going on. Bo Derek was one of the original choices. Did you know that? That she was an original pick for Priscilla Presley? How bad that would have been?
I'm not sure that would have been good. Yeah, you're right.
I'm not sure it would have been great. Ricardo Montalbán, though, is interesting because he gets the villain role because they went to the movies in 1982 and saw Star Trek 2. You know, crazy, just crazy. And then, you know, there's a cameo by Weird Al, which is great. And, you know, one of the elephants in the room we have to talk about, this movie, it's kind of a time capsule because it's produced in 1988. And one of the main actors in the movie was not a person that was acquitted of murder by then. So I'll get it out of the way right now.
I kind of give him a little bit of credit.
He's good.
He's not bad. He's not bad
in this movie.
He does a number of pratfalls right in a row at the beginning of the movie. And
yes, the head on a pipe into the hot stove, into the wet paint, into the wedding cake, into the bear trap, into the water. The interesting thing there is he's very pleasant and affable, and he's it's weird.
I guess we have to give him more credit as an actor than we have.
He didn't appear to be. He didn't appear to be a double murderer here.
Yeah, I do want to mention though that Peter Lupus was the actor who played the character of Norberg on Police Squad. Alan North was the actor who played the police captain be replaced by George Kennedy here in the movies. I'm not sure why they were replaced. I think George Kennedy because they wanted a bigger name. I don't know.
Well, George Kennedy fits their mold, right? George Kennedy fits their mold. A very serious actor, a very serious actor in the realm of Robert Stack, Lloyd Bridges. That comes
and there's
in.
a tonal thing I want to get to when we get to criticism, but
but he's great because he's doing the serious fucking cop show thing. Movie. One of the other interesting aspects of production that we have to talk about is how much trouble they had getting two baseball teams to agree to be the baseball teams at the end of the movie. I was reading about this and I was flummoxed. So they used Dodger Stadium, but the Dodgers
they shot there right before the season started. That was the first thing they shot.
But the Dodgers didn't want to be a part of it because they didn't like that there was a brawl in the script, and they felt it was at a time where baseball brawls were on an upswing, and the Dodgers didn't want to be associated with it.
I can't blame them too much on that.
No, but they tried to get the Brewers. The Brewers said no. They tried to get the Minnesota Twins. The Twins said no. And then in a very good sports fashion, they actually came up with a legitimate baseball game that would happen when they got the California Angels were in the American League West and the Seattle Mariners were in the American League West. I know you're not into sports ball. And I'm just saying one of the funniest things is you're watching the movie and then you read about how nobody associated with Major League Baseball wanted anything to do with the movie, and you go, what? How? Why?
They just didn't know how big.
No, they didn't know what was going to happen. But Kennedy is the same kind of idea that we're going to put serious people into serious roles, play them straight, and then the comedy will come from the straightness of their performances. And Leslie Nielsen, after this movie, Leslie Nielsen is a bankable comedy movie star at this point, right? This is the movie where he not only does he have Airplane and Shirley, Don't Call Me Shirley, but he has this entire franchise that is under his control because his shit is unbelievable.
That said, I don't think any of his other comedy stuff is near as good as what he does here.
No, but it's kind of it's like a mimeograph. It's diminishing returns. But anyway, box office. Okay, so summer 1988, there are a lot of big movies out. But this movie, box office wise, pretty great. Nothing international for this movie though. Opens to $9 million. Actually, it wasn't the summer of 88. It was Christmas of 88. So it came out December 9th, December 2nd, 1988. And it didn't get this, Rich. It did not come out on video until August 15th. It didn't come out on disc until 2000, if you can believe that. But not cassette, obviously, but didn't come out on disc until 2000. It grosses $9.3 million opening weekend, which is 12% of its total gross. It opens in 1,576 theaters. It eventually, in the 8.5 weeks it lasts in theaters, almost 9 weeks in theaters, it gets to 1,900 screens. And so $78 million on a low budget. $78 million on a very small budget. And then they basically... budget was a little bit. Budget was $12 million, and so it ends up doing this great business. If you account for inflation, which drives me bonkers, by the way, it's $216 million, which would put it right in the middle of this summer. It would put it in like the top 10, and right in the middle. And so overall pretty good. Critic response then and now, right? As we look at it, this is one of those movies where we did not have political correctness. We did not have any kind of whatever, no Me Too movement, nothing of that nature. But the jokes they're not too risque, except for like the beaver joke and there's a dildo joke in the middle. That's right on the cusp. But Leslie Nielsen's so good. Priscilla Presley's really good too. Like she's the standout for me. Rewatching it today, she's very good playing the femme fatale, but also the sheepish kind of like action movie dame. Heroine. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't know if it's the way they wrote it, because her character kind of needs to be whatever it needs to be in each particular scene. Not necessarily as a through line. But she's game. Like, she's game. But she makes it all work. She walks that tightrope very carefully, and I think it really works. I mean, she's vulnerable. You actually believe she's in love with Frank, even though her boss is telling her. Yeah. Please get it right. Funny face. But that first shot of her, is like so noirish, femme fatale on that stairway, and then she starts to walk down, and of course she immediately falls, and she gets back up and just flips her hair and keeps going, and it's like, oh damn, it's not the first. By the way, it's not the first one in that particular sequence. In that sequence, she also leads Frank out of the room, and the fall down the stairs is one thing, but at one point he says something about her alluring eyes, the way she was looking at me. She had curves in all the right places and all this other stuff. And the way she was looking at me, and she looks at him, and then she hits the fucking wall, Rich. And if you don't laugh at it, I can't be your friend. Because it's so funny. It's so funny because she's this sultry, femme fatale character. Oh,
and
God,
she bumps it, and then she's walking around the corner going like this, just holding her nose. And there's so many jokes. There's so many, like, one of my favorites that I don't think anybody talks about enough. There's a giant of a man that is like a lab assistant.
Al,
the lab assistant. And my favorite jokes. He's eating a banana, and Leslie Nielsen's like, "Al, you got something on your mouth?" And he's like, he wipes one side, and he goes, "No, Al, the other side." And the whole fucking banana falls on the table. And I was like, "That's funny."
But the joke is you can only see from like here down on it.
Yes, because the camera
you only see the hand go up to.
But it's all things like that. It's like little jokes like that. They're going into an office for the guy that's like the Q of Police Squad, and Leslie Nielsen walks around the frame of the door. Like, it's just everything's surreal. Everything's all like the jokes come so fast and so furious.
In many ways, it is indeed an extension of a lot of those similar gags that they pulled on the 6 episodes of Police Squad, which are out, by the way, on DVD. Get them. You'll watch all of them in under 3 hours. It's a great evening. You'll bust your gut laughing, especially the episode involving the key store. My little key store? Yes, your keister. What? But I will say this, though. I think the movies have a broader sense of slapstick and a broader sense of the comedy that they're doing. I think Police Squad is just a little bit smarter, and it plays it a little bit more flat and straight, which I think works better. That's based on my personal preference.
I think they might have had to do that.
Squad, they would never like mug to the camera.
I think they had to, though.
They had to
make it bigger. Everything in this movie is bigger. And I think Police Squad is more like
people act to the bumblingness of Frank Drebin, whereas before Frank would just bumble and people just kept going like that was the status quo of the universe that they exist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. I think the set pieces are really good. Like, I think the baseball sequence is really good because it not only gets the sports stuff right, which is like the first time they go to the baseball stadium and they're announcing all the announcers, and it's like, and this person, and Dr. Joy's brothers, and it's like, that's what when I watch a football game, that's what happens. You like all these other people are like on the sidelines. We had one game at one point had a guy who was just talking about kickers. Like, it was just, so it becomes like this weird, like very specific kind of joke.
Yeah. I mean, they'll top that joke in basketball when they have, basketball is,
but they're the only ones, just so we're clear, they're the only ones that can come into any kind of a contact with the Zaz, right? Trey Parker and Matt Stone are the only two, Matt and Trey are the only two that come close to the level of satire and puns and jokes that this group of directors and writers did.
The thing in basketball I'm specifically referring to, which is absolutely the funniest piece of sports comedy I've ever seen, is the explanation for the post-game playoff season or the postseason playoff tournament. And it just gets more and more ridiculous. And Marv Albert just reads that shit with a straight face.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that they get a lot of things right. The romantic comedy, the Hermit, the Hermits, Herman and the Hermits song, which is great because after the first date they play the song and then they slap the MTV logo like it's a music video. And it's like, if it's from a particular generation, you understand that because that's how music videos were. They were like little movies, and then the video thing would come up, and you're like, "Oh, we're going on to the next one." But like they get the romantic comedy thing right. I mean, that's also one of my favorite jokes. They hysterically coming out of Platoon is one of the greatest things you'll ever see.
I dare say Seinfeld stole that idea when they had the thing about making out during Schindler's List.
Yeah, well, I think that's a great thing for, this. these guys will become the people that the guys we watch in the 90s and 2000s have based their comedy off of, right? These we'll talk about that as we progress throughout the Naked Gun movies, but even to the next generation of Naked Gun movies, the people that are in charge of the movie that's coming out on August 1st are top of the line where we're at right now. You know, if you say Seth MacFarlane, people trust Seth MacFarlane. Akiva Schaffer, you know, part of the Lonely Island guys, they get it. They understand what the job is to make something funny. I think
I dare say, you know, pop star Never Stop Never Stopping is very heavily influenced by Zaz.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure they'd be the first ones to cop to it as well.
Well, I think they get it. They get that every generation needs a Zaz, is what we, you know, or the world seems to implode on its head. But I think the interesting thing about the movie and the rewatch, you know, these comedy movies and the movies from Zaz, they have to get the parody right? So, you know, they did 0 Hour, right? They got that. They understood the parameters of making a disaster movie. This movie, you need a great plot. We're going to kill the queen. It's super easy. How we're gonna get to there is gonna be crazy. We're gonna have a beaver joke here and there. We're gonna have a weird statues that look like, you know, anatomically correct. We're gonna have, you know, people that are leaning out their windows who are anatomically correct as well. We're gonna get
John
there.
Houseman is gonna be a driving instructor, which I still
Stephanie.
think. Yes, that girl
Stephanie
is wonderful. Why did she not have more of a career? Because just the way she very timidly starts to, you know, bring her hand up, and then very timidly brings the middle, and then she gets, she feels herself. She's like, to the
She's
guy.
great. It's a awesome highlight. It's a highlight scene.
Little moment.
It's a great little moment. And it's a great scene. And Houseman's now normally, Stephanie, we would not go down this way, going a one-way entrance at 65 miles an hour. But times call for different things. You know, that's all great, but they have to get the movie right. It has to be a good cop movie where there's a plot and Frank gets dropped into the plot, and Frank, of course, loses his badge because he's that kind of cop, and all this other, like, they have to get all that right. And then they can do as many fucking jokes as they want. And this movie it's not as loaded as Airplane, but it's pretty close. It like laughs per minute. You know, Airplane's probably 1. This is 1A. You know, when you're talking about it, and hopefully a new one will be in the same range where we're getting jokes. I think Neeson is perfectly suited to be Leslie Nielsen in 2025. Because I think because his movies have become parodies themselves. So I think he might be absolutely letter perfect. But let's look at some Rotten Tomatoes stuff. You'll have Rich Drees, this is at 86% on the tomato meter, so not in the 90s like Airplane, and 84% on the popcorn meter, which is interesting to me. Gene Siskel, he did a laugh counter in his review. It gave me about 10 big laughs and 20 small laughs and many smiles. That's value for time and money spent. Which I think that's an amazing kind of like, that's a weird review to me, but it's also like pretty cool. Like he's like, he realizes that there might be like a joke counter at that they're working on, and he kind of did it himself. Peter Travers, the proud regard in which this farce holds bad taste makes it endearing. Richard Corliss is one of the negatives. Like the Zaz Lads' other films, this is a movie made for a VCR Saturday night. They supply the jokes. You bring the microwave popcorn and modest expectations. That's considered a negative review, by the way. I looked at that and went, I don't know how negative that is. I don't know if that's a green or not. Like, why is that a Rotten Tomato? But I think the interesting thing, it's a little crass. It's not super crass. It doesn't need to be crass. Like the beaver joke alone gets you past, like, you're like, oh, their heart's in the right place. Like, Nice beaver. Thank you. I just had it stuffed. It's like it's perfect. It's one of the more perfect jokes, which is also leading to this summer's perfect popcorn bucket that we showed last week. The beaver just had it stuffed. Like, I don't know how it plays into the new one. Like, I think that's also
unless
funny.
they just redo the joke, which unless they don't.
No, they shouldn't. I think that's a bad idea. But yeah, I mean, that popcorn bucket's pretty sweet. But like, you know, I love that everybody was talking about, like, at the time, one of the things that was a big story was Dodger dogs tasting terrible. And Ricardo Montalbán eats a Dodger dog and there's a finger in it. This is the beaver joke, of course, like, and it's perfectly placed. And the beaver's huge when she brings it down. I think
I want to call
Stephanie.
attention.
Stephanie
well, first
and John Osmond.
Winifred, I just looked her up. Let's go back to her for a second. Winifred Freeman. Okay. I just did her dirty by not knowing what her IMDb page looked like. Her first movie credit was in The Last American Virgin. She did one episode of Happy Days, and her character was part of the spinoff to Joni Loves Chachi. So she did like 17 episodes of that. Good for her there. She was in a couple of other things, The Ellen Burstyn Show. She did a 21 Jump Street, A Highway to Heaven, The Hero and the Terror before she did Naked Gun. After that, she did like 6 episodes of Mr. Belvedere. She was in The Fabulous Baker Boys, Freddy's Nightmares, Married with Children. She did an episode of Murphy Brown. A lot of, TV work here and there, one-offs, 2-off episodes. And then her most recent thing I see here was she did an episode of Shameless back in 2021. So maybe she's retired now. I don't know. But, I mean, she has like 52 credits here. So I do want to apologize because, whatever happened to her? Fuck, she went on and had a great career. I just,
it
was all happen to catch. But,
Well, the interesting thing is The Last American Virgin is a favorite of ours. It's one of the most depressing and wonderful teen romance movies ever made. But she plays Millie. She's the girl. I remember it now. You know what I mean? Like, I remember her now. Millie's the one that kind of like hits on him when he's not getting the love from the girl he wants to love, right? So anyway, but she's also in Chud 2. She's also in The Fabulous Baker Boys. Like, she's in a lot of stuff. So I don't know. She's great. She's fantastic.
She'd be,
this is the best. Is this the best scene in the movie, though, Rich? Can I ask you? I'm showing the scene. This is the scene where Ricardo Montalbán is monologuing and also kind of like trying to throw Drebin off the scent. He has all kinds of cool shit. He has the cool samurai pen and the death fish. And Frank stabs them both, ruins the pen by putting it in water, and then stabs the fish. I think that's probably the funniest scene in the movie, just because it's all Leslie Nielsen physical work.
Yeah, and this movie also gives us a very popular meme of nothing to see here with the fireworks factory explosion. That's you can't go 2 days without seeing that on social media somewhere.
Also, there's a funny one of the things this movie does also is the fake credits. There's if you look in the fake credits, it says 2 actors who were in the fireworks scene but were deleted, and then they have 2 actors, and it's like, holy shit, that's funny. But like Enrico Palazzo this is Leslie Nielsen butchering the national anthem, which would definitely not be allowed in this environment. This is him jumping on the Queen. This is also one of my favorite things. They do a trope where he's walking the street like in a war movie, and then he gets to the outskirts of Los Angeles, and he's in like fucking woods, and he's like, I think the dialogue is something to the effect of, he's like, who did it and why did they do it? Where the hell am I and where am I walking? It's great stuff.
There's another thing I find absolutely fun and ridiculous. Do you know what a Texas switch is? It's a bit of a movie trick where a stuntman will do like a jump and a roll or something and land behind like a car
Oh,
or a big
that's
piece of furniture,
this scene.
and then the actual actor pops up. They
Yes.
do that at least twice in the scene where he's kind of like sneaking through the house before he comes into his own kitchen.
I think it's like 4
Or his
times.
apartment.
It's got to be more
Yeah.
than twice.
Yeah,
But that's also
and-
right before the hot wet meat sequence. I'm boiling a roast beef, which is just the weirdest. She gets it out of the water and she's wearing like a stain. It's just a weird.
She's wearing his dress shirt and nothing else.
So,
and of course, he does this. You know, he goes, "Let me switch into let me change
something
into something
more comfortable."
And it's a nicer suit. And then he does this and the whole, you know, which
Suit
I mean,
falls.
I've had one of those, but you know,
I believe in safe sex. So do I. And then just 2 giant body condoms rolling into bed. Yeah. So I think it's one of the.
I know
funniest
that's not
movies.
the first. I know that's not the first joke in an '80s comedy about condoms and safe sex. I know that. I want to say it was shoot,
I
that
don't.
John Ritter comedy with the glow in the dark condom.
Skin Deep came out in '89. I think.
Skin Deep, yeah.
Hold on.
And really?
I think Skin Deep came out in '89.
Oh,
But that's a funny movie too. Like that movie has one joke, but
once like
'89
months ago.
that came out in '89. So this had it beat. But I think this is right around the time where safe sex jokes were just making it into movies. So
because
it's ahead of its time.
We're still in the midst of the AIDS crisis here in '88.
Yeah, it's still ahead of its time.
We finally got rid of
Also,
Reagan, who
just
wouldn't even
a
talk
shout
about
out, a shout out to this guy. It's Enrico Palazzo, but he's also the guy that stole Pee-wee's bike. Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear. Also the guy that stole Pee-wee's bike. But I think the movie is great. It holds up. It made me laugh. I was laughing tonight. I think when we get into legacy,
actually, I'm doing a little bit of work here, and Google is telling me, let's see, '89 film Skin Deep includes a joke about a glow-in-the-dark condom. Naked Gun also features a condom joke in '88. 1990, Pretty Woman.
So it's the first.
We might actually be here with the first real condom joke in a movie.
Well,
not that.
no, wait. Porky's has a condom joke. Porky's has a condom joke.
Yeah, that was like 6 years earlier too.
What do you use to wrap that thing? A peanut shell and a rubber band? So there are condom jokes there, and maybe it's not actually showing a prophylactic. Maybe that's what we can say.
True.
Like that's the key.
Or a condom joke in
full.
as a reaction to the AIDS crisis.
Well, and also physically there. Like the Pee-wee joke is a joke about a condom that anybody can make.
You don't see. It's just
Right, but this is actual seeing a condom, and Skin Deep is also seeing condoms, right? So a little bit different, and also right in the middle of the AIDS crisis. Legacy. So this just so we're clear, this movie makes bank, and then the second movie makes. I was looking at it. I was shocked at how much money the second movie made. Like in a sense of the normal trajectory of a movie making money, and then a sequel making as more or higher amount of money than the first movie because people are just happy there. The only movies that I could justify it out where you go first movie comes out and then the second movie comes out and it makes more, and then the third movie doesn't make as much. But the movie I was thinking about with this was John Wick, in the sense that John Wick came out, everybody loved it, and then the second movie came out and it was such a higher box office than the first one that you go, what happened in the 6 months or the 3 years that the next one comes out? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It
think
becomes
both
a definitive franchise.
John Wick and Naked Gun here are very much, again, we've seen this before, we'll see it again, the beneficiaries of the home video boom.
Absolutely.
In the fact that they released Police Squad on video, and it did fairly well. People were discovering it and realizing, oh my gosh, what is this little piece
How do
of
we
thing from?
Why is there
the
only
guys
6
who
of them? It's like when somebody
make
discovers
more.
It's like when somebody discovers Firefly for the first time. You're like, how many episodes are there? 13. Why are there only 13? Because people were dumb. Like people were stupid. People
Although
prefer to watch
honestly, man, I don't know if they could have kept going on
either
Police
one.
Squad.
Yeah, I don't know that either one could have lasted longer. And to be honest,
the idea was canceled. An ABC executive basically told them, your show, we have to cancel your show. Nobody's watching it because you have to pay attention while you're watching your show. It's like your TV, you just can't have you can't have your TV show on and have somebody sitting there folding the laundry or cooking dinner. You have to actually pay attention to the show.
Your TV show is too intelligent, young man. I think the other thing
your TV show needs to be watched. It can't just be video wallpaper in the background.
Airplane was a contained kind of nuclear bomb. When this comes out, this becomes like they become the brand again. The brand gets reevaluated, right? So everybody goes like, if you love Airplane, you'll love Naked Gun, and then the brand kind of like it extrapolates out into the public, into the general. It becomes disseminated, and people try to copy it, or people get it, or people don't get it. The impactful legacy of comedy by the Naked Gun films and the Airplane movie is so great that you can't even like. I don't know that you can put a hand on it. How many comedians, comedy writers, how many movies, how many people are inspired by these movies where like I watched it at a sleepover in 1988 and I laughed my ass off and I wanted to do improv, or I wanted to do like the sheer volume of people that have come out of
it.
It
showed me that you could have fun with language in certain ways.
You could be punny and you could do fun things, and you could also like there's some really great stuff in this one, and I think I'm hoping that the franchise viability is still there, but we haven't seen a good version of this kind of movie in a while, Rich. So the thing that we're gonna have, which I'm gonna get to experience with you, by the way.
I know, I'm so psyched.
It's gonna be so much fun. Because I'm gonna be home back in NEPA, and we're gonna go see the Naked Gun movie. But just the idea of going and laughing, and we haven't had good comedies recently. We haven't had any comedies where everybody's kind of like jazzed and goes, and we haven't had a big comedy hit in a while. So, the legacy is like, part of the legacy is a little bit scary in the sense that they're so good that when you copy them poorly, you make bad movies. Like all of the spoof movies, and I'm not talking about scary movies because they sort of got it, and they had good people, they had serious people trying to make it funny. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a really bad law of diminishing returns on
those. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm not saying that, but what I will say is, like, we haven't had anything like the Naked Gun or Naked Gun 2.5 or Naked Gun 33 1/3 in a while. Can I also tell you, as we finish up the Naked Gun and as we talk about the legacy, can I tell you that the next one came out in 1991, this movie right here, Naked Gun 2, Smell of Fear, and I watched the trailer for this one, and then I watched the trailer for Naked Gun 2.5, Smell of Fear, because I have it as part of the discs I have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember what the Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear trailer was? Do you remember? I'm
no,
just
I do
curious.
not. Actually, no.
Okay. So 91, they had this movie called Ghost.
Oh yeah, now I remember. Okay, yeah.
So the trailer is a really funny riff on the Ghost trailer. And, Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze playing with the pottery wheel. And, it's Frank and it's Frank and Jane. And they're doing the pottery wheel. They're playing the Righteous Brothers. And they're moving the hands to the clay, and then a third set of hands appears, and then they hit the wheel, and all the mud just starts spraying on them. And Leslie Nielsen and Priscilla Presley in the trailer are kissing so voluminously with mud all over them. And it's like, you will believe that the Naked Gun has returned. Like, I just think it's...
Well, you know who directed Ghost, right?
I do know who directed Ghost. Yes, because they mention it in the trailer. They go, it is not the movie that you think it is because it's directed by his brother. Like, it's just hilarious.
Yeah,
and
Jerry Zucker
directed Ghost. Yes, so it's just this really funny play on the Ghost trailer. That's how they premiered it. But we're going to be doing that movie next week, and then we're going to be off for a week because I'm on vacation, and then we're going to come back and either do Naked Gun 33rd and 3rd, this one, or we're going to move on to more 85 movies that we want to do before the summer ends, because I got a Jones to go 88 miles an hour, and we haven't done it on the show. So we got to figure it out. Yes, I was thinking about that. But yeah, I think in finishing up, I think the interesting thing here is Leslie Nielsen takes this and runs with it, right? That's another legacy feature of this movie. He takes it and he runs, and he just never lets up after this. He's making comedy movie after comedy movie after comedy movie, and he never lets up after this, after he hits in this. And it's deserved. It's one of those deserved things where you're like, I'm going to go because he's so fucking sincere when he does his shit. What are your final words, my friend, before we leave for the evening?
If you've not seen either Naked Gun or Police Squad, check them both out. Even though tonally they're mostly the same. I prefer Police Squad just because it's a little more poker faced about what it's doing.
It's like a non-comedy Barney Miller is what it plays off as when you're watching.
And pull up, if I sent you a picture earlier today in Facebook Messenger. You can pull that up. My favorite gag in Police Squad was at the end of every episode. They said, the bad guy was going off to Statesville Prison, and then they would say, where they're going to spend time with Sally Decker and blah, blah, blah. And every episode, they would sit there and recite the names of every other bad guy from the previous episodes. So by the 6th episode, they're reciting 5 other names as well as that episode's villain. And when I was in North Carolina a few years back, I'm driving along and I realized North Carolina has a Statesville. So I had to pull over and get a picture of the sign because I'm sure that's where Statesville Prison is, where Sally Decker and all the other bad guys from Police Squad were all sent to.
Yep. That is hilarious. Also, the fun thing when you're driving the East Coast, you find Cape Fear, and if you're a movie fan, you get giddy. You're just like, oh, we're past Cape Fear. Oh my God. Oh, I hope the houseboat's okay. Anyway, that's a deep cut.
Yeah. Oh, also, I did just send you the picture from Dartmouth.
Oh, okay.
I want to throw that up. Okay.
Give me 1 second. Hold on.
Okay. I'll vamp while you look for it. Yeah.
That's not vamping. You got to talk.
Oh, okay. But yeah, in the meantime, though, do you want me to run my plugs?
Yeah, do your plugs.
Okay. All of my writing can be found at filmbuffonline.com. We've got a Facebook page that lets you know whenever we post new stuff. And also on the Facebook page, we like to have fun with film history posts, things like that, late breaking news. I also do 2 other podcasts. One is called The Big Picture Podcast that I do with my best friend, Natasha Bogutsky. Our most recent episode, we talked about Superman. We did a virtual out of the theater review on that, and you can find that at bigpicturepod.com or through the link at filmbuffonline.com. The other podcast that I do, it's in Facebook Messenger.
I know.
Okay. The other podcast that I do is called Film Scribes. It's part of it's put out by the great folks in the Philadelphia Film Critics Circle, which I am a member of, and also I produce it. So I just kind of was patting myself on the back there, I guess. Our most recent episode was
you got to do, Rich.
Also
you do what you got to do.
I know. Hit the feeds about a week or two ago, and that myself and two other of our members talked about our experiences at the Tribeca Film Festival. We saw some great movies, some which are coming up. Anyways, this is the original Animal House. At no time I was there did a female mannequin come flying through a window to crash on the ground. No one smashed any guitars.
Did they take the whole fucking bar? That's the question.
They didn't take the whole fucking bar. Nothing.
There's the popcorn bucket. It's called the Beaver Bucket, which is nice. Beaver just had it stuffed. Last comment before you can find me, JW the Movie Guy, on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, all those places. Spoof movies as a genre can last as long as they're spread out and not become mainstream. Maybe. I don't. I have faith in the people that are doing the next Naked Gun only because I trust Seth. Seth MacFarlane is an offshoot of Matt and Trey, is an offshoot of Zaz. Like they're all very, very good at satire, very good at spoofy things, very good at quick wit and very smart things. So you can also see me on Loud and Nerdy. I'll be there tomorrow night fighting with the guys about whether or not a $58 million weekend is a hit, which is the stupidest fucking thing we're talking about lately. And you can also see me next week, Generation Movie next week. We'll be doing Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear. We get Ricardo Montalbán, who was killed at the end of this one, replaced with Robert Goulet and his band of terrible oil industry executives. Thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody have a great week. We'll see everybody next week. We'll talk. We're probably going to try to do an episode at some point talking about the Fantastic Four, spoiler free. We'll see when Rich and I can make it work. I don't know if it's going to be as big as Superman. We'll just the amount of people for us. Yeah. But we'll see if we can make it work. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see everybody next week. Bye.
Bye.